This is gonna be a fun one. If you have decided to work on your company's ESG strategy and maybe you haven't done it before, then this video is for you. Welcome, my name is Christine and I'm the founder of Your Impact House. My day-to-day job is to advise companies and investment funds on all things sustainability. Before we get into the actual video, let me just acknowledge the location I'm at. Welcome to the middle of nowhere of Latvia, aka our family home where we spend a big part of our time, as it is the start of the summer. And so it's the start of the summer, and I figured instead of turning our tiny city apartment upside down to make it into a studio, I'll give outdoor filming a try. I'll keep you posted on how it goes. This is the typical evening in countryside Latvia. It's kind of cold and there are mosquitoes. Okay, so let's get started. In this video, we will explore what is ESG Materiality Assessment, why should your business consider conducting one, and when would be the right time, what to do even before you get started with the process, and how to successfully carry out an ESG Materiality Assessment process without hiring a consultant. And that's the important part here. Most companies start their sustainability journey by spending 3 to up to 50,000 euros on hiring a consulting firm that will carry out the ESG materiality assessment for them. But honestly, that's not always the best investment. Hear me out. ESG materiality assessment is rather a simple process to carry out yourself. It is a great way how to engage company stakeholders and understand what their needs and expectations are. This can be the perfect project to start with for the person who is going to lead the company's ESG projects moving forward. So if you are at the beginning of building your company's ESG strategy and you're trying to figure out where and how to start, consider starting with ESG materiality assessment and doing it yourself. So what is an ESG materiality assessment? It is a tool used to identify and prioritize ESG topics that are most important to your business. You can think of it as an exercise in stakeholder engagement as well. During the ESG materiality assessment process, company determines the most relevant ESG topics, identifies the key stakeholders for your business, and assesses the importance of each ESG area. It is a process that businesses carry out when just starting out and also on a regular basis to check in on whether the current strategy actually supports the current business. Love nature. So why should your business conduct an ESG materiality assessment? There are over 100 topics in each of the 3 boxes of E, S, and G. Obviously, no business can work on all the topics at the same time, and it is not necessary. Each business has some topics that are super relevant to its long-term success and to its stakeholders, and there are some topics that are completely irrelevant. A key to building a successful ESG strategy and making sure that company executes it and implements it over time and it stays relevant over the years is choosing few topics that are super relevant and make sense to the business and its stakeholders. And the ESG materiality assessment process is the tool to help you identify which topics actually are those. Next, let's go over some of the things that you should consider doing even before you jump into the ESG materiality assessment process. First and foremost, who's going to be responsible for developing an ESG strategy and implementing it in the business? As mentioned before, ESG materiality assessment is a great tool for engaging stakeholders. But after you have engaged those stakeholders, it is a fair consideration from them to want to know what are you going to do next. So it should be done when company has the basics in place. For example, who's responsible for ESG topics in the company? To explore this topic a little bit further, you can check out another video I have on the channel about the job of sustainability manager. Oh, getting better. Another thing I would advise you, even before you get started, is an ESG project audit. First, look at the projects that company has related to environmental, social, and governance aspects of the business. I would suggest to look at the last 1 to 3 years, and maybe for some companies it also makes sense to look at what ESG projects were in place when you were just starting out. Maybe there was a social aspect to launching the business, or maybe there was some environmental concern that boosted the start of the business. These also should be part of the ESG audit process. Then research some of the key industry trends. Look at the forecast for the next 5 years. Look at where the industry as a whole is going, because that is going to give you another useful insight to what you should consider. And of course, research your competition. Look at the sustainability communication that they have. Look at the ESG KPIs that they mention in their sustainability landing page, in their ESG report, in other relevant communication. And of course, you can use self-assessment tools. There are great free available self-assessment checklists developed by B Corp and United Nations. I will link them below in the description. This should give you a short list of ESG topics that you can then further research in your ESG materiality assessment process. And here's a bonus tip for you. If you're going to be the one leading the ESG project in your company, consider the level of ambition you have. And you know what? Also have a conversation with the leadership team. Based on where you want to be on that level of ambition scale, whether you want to just keep up, whether you want to just follow where the crowd goes, or you want to lead and be among the leaders, like that significantly changes how much resources you can allocate to ESG related projects and how much into detail you can actually go. It's especially important to ask this question to the leadership team because you will need their support in every step of the way. Ask them, what do they think would be the best for the business in 3 years' time, in 5 years' time? Share with them what you discovered during the ESG project audit. Once you clarify that, it's time to get to work and start the ESG materiality assessment process. This one. Shortly, I will share with you an overview of the step-by-step process. But before I do, I just want to briefly mention that my business partner and I have developed an online program to help professionals like you successfully carry out an ESG materiality assessment without hiring a consultant, which is the typical approach businesses take. In the online program, you get access to online video course, you get access to email support for all things ESG materiality, and invitations to sustainability masterminds, are live sessions where you come in with your questions and we give you everything we can to help you succeed based on our consulting experience. If you want to learn more, check out the first link in the description box. Is it that cold? Just 17 degrees. Latvian summer. Okay, so ESG materiality assessment process. Step 1. Identify the material topics. I was just sharing with you that there are so many ESG topics, and choosing the right ones is the key to building a successful ESG strategy. So shortlisting topics that you will explore further in the materiality assessment process is the first step of the process. The second step of the process is defining the scope. If you had an opportunity to ask your leadership team about the level of ambition and how much time and resources you can spend on this project, this should be a big help for you to defining the scope. But basically in this step, you figure out how many stakeholders you will engage and how deep you will go in the conversations with them. The third step is gathering the data. In essence, you want to carry out a research process with interviews, surveys, calls, questionnaires, everything you can to get as much data as you want and as you can. And the fourth step is to analyze and present the data. Summarize which ESG topics are the most important for your business and your stakeholders. ESG materiality assessment is usually the first step for companies who want to start their ESG strategy building journey and want to make sure that the strategy is not just based on their internal gut feeling or their individual perspective, but also considering the stakeholders, the investors, the customers, the local community. Depending on the business, the stakeholders to engage are going to be completely different. But after going through the process, companies should have a clear understanding on which topics are actually important for them and for their business, and which topics they should be working on for the next few years. And that's a wrap. I hope you found this useful. Amazing to have you tuning in and checking out our countryside home location and watching me feed the mosquitoes. Hope you learned something new and will subscribe to your Impact House YouTube channel to continue learning about all things sustainability, ESG, CSR, and everything you need to make your business more sustainable. Thank you for watching. Peace.